Hello and good day. My name is Joshua, and I will be talking today about our introduction, which will be taken from SDG 13, which is talking about climate action. So, in SDG 13, we have focused on our entire project into the aspect of haze and how haze affects the public. So, the purpose of studying haze and its effect to our society is so that we can cope with the health risks and damage done by the haze towards the public in Malaysia. So we do this so we can learn more about what happens to the climate change in Malaysia, how haze affects it, and how we can better the situation and prepare ourselves for the future if any given necessary, if it gets bad. We also did a survey to find out about the effects of haze towards the population in Malaysia, towards the people in Malaysia. This survey was a means on a way to adapt to find out our haze levels in Malaysia. Now, we go to the issue of haze. So, the issue of haze is basically a natural phenomenon during which smog, dust, and harmful toxins obscure the sky. So I'm looking at the sky right now, and we are quite grateful that the haze isn't so bad. We found out that one of the main reasons why we have haze in Malaysia is due to other countries' unfortunate circumstances such as forest burning, forest fires, open burning, and even in our own Malaysia, we have illegal open burning, which will be spoken more in depth with my friends to come later on. So, climate change is a true and undeniable threat to our entire civilization. One of the few would be haze. This inquiry was done based on haze because a prolonged effect of haze has been known to cause the reduction of bee colonies settling on trees. Haze not only affects us humans, but haze also affects life as we know it. Because what haze does is haze affects breathing, respiratory problems, and by affecting our respiratory problems, haze will affect us as a whole, affect any living thing as a whole. When there was haze here, plants couldn't photosynthesize properly because there will be a layer of dust on the leaves, so plants couldn't absorb sunlight. Haze also prevented humans, especially those with breathing problems like asthma, from breathing properly, thus giving more breathing problems in the future. Haze also very similar effects to animals, and also haze prevented birds from seeing clearly in the sky, so they would slam into windows and all that. Haze not only affects us living things, haze also affects buildings. By having haze is slightly acidic, or in some cases very acidic, where they corrode the panels in the buildings. So this corrosion leads to the problems in haze. So the issue that we are trying to solve is the issue of haze towards the people, towards living things, the effects of haze. We are trying to solve this based on how people can give us their suggestions on how to improve, how to better their lifestyle into adapting and overcoming haze in Malaysia. We hope that everyone in Malaysia will be given equal treatment when it comes to the betterment of haze in Malaysia. Our objectives are also to educate the public or bring awareness to the public so they will know what will happen when there comes haze another time. We will know what to do to prepare ourselves, to better ourselves. We'll know what to do, what happens if haze is affecting us. We'll know how to reduce the effects of haze towards us. And that is why we have conducted this thing, to teach us, to emphasize on the effects of haze towards the public in Malaysia. Anyways, I will pass it on to my next colleague to talk more about this.
Assalamualaikum and good morning everyone. My name is Muhammad Wafiq bin Syahrimal from Mechanical Engineering course. Now, I'm going to talk about our method used to collect the data about the haze. First is by doing literature review, where we collect our useful information through journals and articles. Next, we conduct an online survey through Google Form. Google Form is distributed by using social media such as WhatsApp, Instagram, and Twitter. Next, I'm going to talk about the data analysis. 73 respondents were recorded from the Google Form. The majority of the respondents are full-time students. 52.1% are male and 47.9% of them are female. First question we asked the respondent is, how would you rate the air quality in Malaysia? 45.8% of them said normal. 31.9% of them said somewhat bad and 11.1% of them said terrible. Next, 84.9% of the respondents were affected by the haze and 13.7% of them said not. We also asked them how, how would the haze has affected our lives. 31.8% of them said it will cause health problem and 78.1% of them said it will impact our government. From a 5-point Likert scale question, 41.7% of the respondents strongly agree that corporations take the highest responsibility for the degrading of air quality in Malaysia. We also asked them for the opinion on how to reduce the effect of haze toward us. We can conclude that the effect of haze can be reduced by wearing masks in public areas. Next, we can reduce open burning of waste material because the smoke from it contains gases that are very harmful to the environment. Next, public transport should be an option to reduce traffic for cleaner air. And lastly, a strict law enforcement from the government must be taken for those who are not being responsible for our quality of air in Malaysia. That's all from me. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
The problem statement for our topic, which is the effect of haze towards people in Malaysia, is the Southeast Asian region experienced the brunt of the 1997 haze episode in August 2005. Smoke from forest fires on the Indonesian island of Sumatra was identified as the primary source of the haze. On 11th August 2005, Port Klang and the Kuala District of Selangor were proclaimed to be the 12th largest port in the world, reaching dangerous heights after the API, defined as having a value of greater than 500. This is the first time an emergency was a smoke, which is a haze, placed after the haze of September 1997 in Malaysia. Meanwhile, there are still few more questions about the effect of haze towards the people. Questions such as, is there anything we can do to prevent the haze from happening again? Another question is, what is supposed to be expected from the government to solve this issue? And lastly is, do you think Association of Southeast Asian Nation we is effective and still relevant in managing the transboundary of haze? The significance of study about the haze effects towards people in Malaysia. So the public is endorsed to cohere to the Ministry of Health Advisory. However, it is still secure for us to continue any outdoor activities as long as we drink a lot of water to always stay hydrated. People with lung conditions and have chronic heart are advised to constantly have your medications on hand and readily available at all times. The government should also increase the public's level of understanding about the importance and implications of the danger of the forest. A constant effort reminding the cause, solutions, and steps that need to be taken to reduce the haze need to be encouraged through all types of social media, such as newspaper, televisions, radio, and even through the internet. The authority must also provide support to the farmers and establish more advanced forest clearing method. All of the individuals should remember that we do not own this world. Nevertheless, we are just preserving it from our future generations. Therefore, we must take good care of our world so that our future generation could have a healthy earth to live.